Hello there. This is March 14th, 2023. I have a question from Matthew. I forgot to check to see where Matthew was from. I don't know where Matthew is from, but I got a question from him. This is about 1 Corinthians chapter 3, and I believe it's between verses 10 and 15. And this question has to do with rewards in heaven, all right? And it has to do with are we going to be rewarded or are we going to miss out on things? Let me read the question. My new question is trying to understand this passage that was referenced by a pastor to point out that the good and bad we do will matter in the end. He said there is a loss we endure through sinful actions and a gain that we receive for the good that we do, and used 1 Corinthians chapter 3 verses 10 through 15. It didn't make sense because God would have to keep a record of sins, which would mean all sins are not forgiven once and for all. I will appreciate any insight you have for this. And you're right, if this is true, all right, the pastor says, this pastor says that God is going to withhold things from you, or in effect, he's going to punish you for sins that you commit, but he will reward you for the good things that you do, then he does have to keep records. He's got to keep some really good records in order to make sure that, everything is allocated properly. Now, he could, of course, enlist some angels to do this, and that's one way to look at it. But the point remains that are we going to be rewarded for the good things that we do, and are we going to be punished for the bad things that we do? If that's the case, then this effectively negates, or it takes away, the value of the forgiveness of sins. All right? That's effectively what he is doing. What he is doing is he is saying that God still holds your sins against you. All right? Now, depending upon how gracie, all right, and I use that word in the sense of, how close as he is to being a grace teacher or not, this is a strategy that some people use, all right, that they want to say that they're a grace teacher. They say, well, God is not going to punish you in the sense he's not going to hurt you or anything like that. He's not going to send you to hell, but you're going to miss out on rewards, that he would have given to you otherwise. And that becomes the incentive to stop sinning. Stop that sin. Don't sin. I know he's not going to send you to hell over it, but you won't be rewarded, And that's what people are saying. And it depends on how, and I'll use that word again, how gracie they are, okay, in terms of how they would want to fit into that. But, this is the position that people take. All right. Now, from my point of view, Paul was not talking about this at all. That this was not his intent in any way whatsoever. All right. I read this section differently. So if this guy, or anybody for that matter, if they want to believe that and they want to teach that, they need to go look somewhere else. All right. To me, they just need to go somewhere else. I don't think there is another place. If they go somewhere else, let me know, and I'll talk about those passages as well. But in this case, let me go ahead and go through this. In 1 Corinthians chapter 3, beginning in verse 10, it says, according to the grace of God, which was given to me, as a wise master builder, I have laid the foundation, and another builds on it. But let each one take heed how he builds on it. For no other foundation can anyone lay than that which is laid, which is Jesus Christ. All right? So Jesus is the foundation of this building. And this building is an abstract building. It's not an actual building. It's an abstraction to describe who we are, all right, as a person, who you are. And that who you are going to become, who you are going to be, is like constructing something. as if you are constructing a building. All right, you start out as a babe in Christ. All right, for example, someone who knows very little, if anything, about God as a person, and you understand very little, if anything, about the covenant that you've entered into. However that may begin, you're going to start out with nothing, and how you grow in your faith, is going to be dependent on to what degree do you embrace the truth and let go of those things that are not true. So this life that we live is a life of growth and of change. All right, as you grow to know your God, that means you didn't know him before, but now you know him a little bit. And then later you know him a little bit more and a little bit more. All right, you understood the truth of whatever this topic may be a little bit before, but now you understand it a little bit more and a little bit more. This is building on top of the foundation of Jesus being the Messiah. All right, and everyone's got their own building, everyone's got their own life. We all have our own lives that we're living, and our own changes that we go through, and our own discoveries of what is true and what is not true. All right, and this is the experience of building our lives, building our faith, building our relationship with God, that sort of thing. Continuing into verse 12. In verse 12, now if anyone builds on this foundation with gold, silver, precious stones, wood, hay, straw, each one's work will become clear, for the day will declare it, because it will be revealed by fire. And the fire will test each one's work of what sort it is. If anyone's work, which he has built on it, endures, he will receive a reward. If anyone's work is burned, he will suffer loss, but he himself will be saved as through fire. All right, yet so as through fire. All right, so he says that there will come a point when there will be this abstract burning. All right, this fire of some kind that takes place. And when that happens, there are some things that are going to go away, and there are other things that are going to remain. All right. Now, from what I understand, when we start out with the foundation of Jesus as the Messiah, we're talking about what we believe. That's what this is. All right. It's what you believe and whether or not it's true. Okay. If what you believe is not true, well, you can still build your life and your beliefs and your understanding of God, including this thing you believe that isn't true. And there are other things that you can build with that are likely true. Right? So everyone's got their own unique building, which is composed of the things we believe. Right? The things we believe about our God, the things we believe about what he has done, the things we believe about what he's doing and what he may do in the future. The day will come when we will be confronted with God. All right? The day will come. God will confront us in some way, and there will be a revelation concerning what we believe. And I don't know exactly how that's going to play out or how he's going to do that or how much time he might take, but he's going to make some adjustments in what people believe. Now, it's my opinion that first he's going to determine if a person has a place in his kingdom or not. And if they do, then he will spend some time with them and say, listen, let's correct a few things. All right. And when this happens, however this happens, those things that you believed that were not true are effectively going to go up in flames. All right, to use that abstract description that he gave. The only thing that's going to be left is what is true. That's what's going to be left. So whatever you take with you, all right, whatever you take with you, some of those things are not true and they're going to be dealt with. And some of those things are true And those are the things you're going to bring with you into the kingdom of heaven. All right? And into the new life that you're going to experience starting from that day, whatever that day is. Now, this is important, all right? There is a lot to know about our God that, from what I can tell, can really only be discovered and experienced while we are alive physically and living on this earth. When we go to heaven, there are things that we just simply will not be able to really embrace and learn and understand in the same way that we could have here in the midst of the sufferings and of the struggles and of the difficulties of life. All right, look at your own life, and I'm sure you should be able to find something that you can look at and say, you know, because I endured all of this suffering and all this trauma, all these issues, because I endured and I came out on the other side, there are things that I know about my God that I would have never known. And you know, it's different to go through the struggles and the sufferings of life. It's different to do that in comparison with just, okay, we're going to sit down and have a conversation with God and he's going to tell us these things. You know, that's just not the same. You know, it's not the same. It doesn't become a part of you, you know, as a person as much. You know, when you're taught something, you study something in a book, you know, it's okay. I don't want to say it's bad. And if God shares some things, of course, it's going to be wonderful. But it's still not the same as it being part of our struggle, part of our living experience, being able to relate to it in a personal way through our own unique circumstances of life. All right? And it's my sincere opinion that there are a lot of things that simply will not be captured and understood in the kingdom of heaven like they can be here and now. So when we go before our God in this way, and there is this adjustment, all right, when there's this correction, okay, those things that we believe that are not true are going to go up in flames. And those things that we do believe that are true about the character of our God, about the person of our God, all right, about the universe that he made, about the way that people relate to one another, all right, things like that, those are the things that will remain, okay, and those are the reward, all right? Your reward is what you believed that was true, that you came to know through the struggles and the tribulations and the sufferings of life. Again, the rewards that he's referring to right here in 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verses 10 through 15, these rewards are those truths that we believe, that we grew to know while we struggled through the tribulations of life while we were physically alive. All right, that's what's going to be remaining. That's what will remain, and that is what's going to be the reward. All right. And what he wants to say is no, if you don't sin, well then you don't sin so much. Well then God's going to give you something extra. You know, he'll give you he'll give you a lollipop or cookies or so, I don't know. You know, I'm just saying that to exaggerate the point. That in comparison, you know, what kind of a reward is he going to give, right? I mean, what is he really going to give? What are you going to get? Okay, what's this about? It's about what you believed that was true, that remains, you know, that's validated by God himself, where he says, yes, that is real. That is who I am. That's right. You know, when he validates that, that is the reward. Okay, so this is how I see this passage. I understand probably just about everybody else. Everybody says it means something different, you know, and you can just listen to what I have to say and what everybody else has to say, and you get to believe whatever you want, all right? But that's what I see in this passage. If you have any other questions for me, do send them to me by email to Aaron at aaronbudgeon.net. That's Aaron at aaronbudgeon.net. I also did a series of programs on rewards, and I also put 2 more in there on eternal punishment that you can find in the Living God Ministries radio archive look through the archive page kind of towards the bottom of the second section, and you should be able to find the link to the programs on rewards in heaven, and you'll find the two on eternal punishment attached to those also, where I spoke about this subject for a couple hours. All right, I do hope this helps. Thank you.